I used to look at myself in the mirror every morning and think, I've made it, and for a while it actually felt true. Because I believed that waking up early, wearing a suit, fulfilling client goals, making money, cooking dinner for a respectful partner, and actually getting excited about Sunday brunch was what success was supposed to look like. And somewhere along the way, I lost sight of what I wanted, of who I was, and of how fragile that carefully crafted image really was. When I landed the job at the marketing firm I'd envisioned since college, it didn't feel like a milestone, it felt like destiny. And I poured every ounce of myself into becoming the star employee, staying late to fix campaign errors, volunteering for the next big pitch, even when exhaustion had me half asleep at the wheel of my car, believing deeply that if I just gave every ounce of effort, I'd become the person I'd always wanted to be. And I did on paper. I earned praise, raises, and invitations to industry events I'd once only dreamed of attending. Meanwhile, my social media feed filled with everyone else's highlight reels, friends getting engaged, traveling coast to coast, having babies, buying houses, while I had my own highlight reel. Closely cropped selfies in conference rooms, blurry but earnest snaps with my partner at a trendy brunch spot, boomerangs of celebratory champagne popping after a successful campaign. But something was off. Everyday life looked like it was happening around me, not for me. And when I woke up on a Wednesday morning too exhausted to brush my teeth, I couldn't remember the last day I slept past 6 a.m. or the last time I cried without being prompted by exhaustion. I had coffee staying up past the sun, and I laughed at jokes I didn't find funny just to feel part of something outside my head. Weekends were a blur of chores, incomplete laundry, social commitments that drained me, and phone calls with people I didn't really want to see, but was too proud to say no to. And the worst part was that I pretended everything was fine. From posting filtered brunch photos to sending perfectly polite Slack emojis, even when parts of me felt cracked and hollow. It all came to a head on a Friday morning when I showed up to the office, looked at my reflection in the elevator mirror, and didn't recognize the person staring back at me, the practiced smile, the forced calm, the shoulders slumped from weeks of carrying other people's expectations. I spent the whole weekend in bed, staring at an untouched to-do list titled Life Improvements. But all I managed was eating cold cereal, rewatching old TV seasons, and crying because I genuinely couldn't remember what I used to enjoy. My partner poked around the house, asking if they should bring movies or pancakes, and I told them to go enjoy the day without me because I didn't have the energy to pretend to be okay. And then I realized that fine had become a comfortable lie, so I finally said it out loud in therapy, which I had started exhaustingly, dreading the stigma of getting help, and I learned that burnout isn't just stress and exhaustion. It's a collapse of identity, a fading out of joy, a landscape of memory where achievements become dust, and every compliment feels like a shadow. I learned that saying no isn't selfish, that boundaries aren't optional, and that my worth wasn't tied to my output or my busyness. I started reclaiming small things, letting Sunday mornings be spontaneous, deleting half my apps, reading books that weren't required, spending evenings cooking meals that didn't have to be photo-worthy, returning phone calls I used to schedule as obligations. And each tiny choice reminded me that my life didn't have to revolve around metrics or timelines or having it all. I began to carve out safe spaces, no work zones, no phone nights, no expectations, weekends where I could just be myself, messy, tired, imperfect. And I realized that a successful life isn't one where everything is perfect. It's one where you feel comfortable in your own presence, where failure doesn't shatter you, and where your value isn't measured in productivity or applause. I still feel fragile, but now I'm learning to be gentle with the cracks, that they don't need to be covered up, only cared for. Maybe this doesn't sound like a plot twist, but sometimes the hardest plot twist is realizing you've been living a story that wasn't yours to tell, and having the courage to write a new one.